Now the soil is the creative mind. The soil is the universal subjective. And so when this person decided I'm going to have an apple orchard or a peach orchard or a watermelon field or whatever it was, this person decided I'm going to put this seed in the ground and I'm going to harvest this particular thing. Now they had an expectation that they would harvest exactly what they planted. They didn't plant tomatoes and expect corn to come up. Sometimes we get mixed up with what we really want. We say we want one thing, but our actions determine something else. And so the universe is like, well, I'm here, whatever you want to do. You want to hang out in between. You know, they say, what's that song from Jungle Book? Accentuate the positive and don't hang around with Mr. In Between. Don't mess with Mr. In Between. Don't even mess with him. You know, and there's a scripture that says, because you are neither hot nor cold, I will spew you out of my mouth. Make up your mind. Decide. Make a decision. My mom taught me the most difficult, she said, son, the most difficult thing you'll ever do in your life is make a decision. But when you learn to make decisions, life gets easier. And so we're recognizing that, you know what? One seed can make an entire orchard. One seed can make an entire orchard. One idea that you put your intention into and allow your attention to flow to can populate your life with whatever the majesty, whatever the goodness, whatever the love, whatever it is that you believe is your joie de vivre, whatever it is that you want to enjoy for the rest of your life. Put that seed in the ground. And the way you put that seed in the ground is just to declare that, you know what, I'm in my right and perfect place, and everything I need is right here with me. I'm not just in my right and perfect place, but my good is over there somewhere. I'm still in my right and perfect place. I just got to get my good in my right and perfect place. No. Everything you need to do whatever it is that you want to do, everything you desire to do, whatever it is you're being compelled to do, already exists within you. The field is fertile. And so it's just waiting. It's just waiting. It's standing on tiptoe with anticipation. What do you want to do now? Well, just like, I remember that cartoon dog. You know, just, you know, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? It's like, oh, God. That's the creative force of the universe. Just to come tell me what you want. Tell me what you want. I'm here to do that. That's what I do. Don't get mad because I did something you told me to do and then you decided you didn't want it. If you don't want it, then tell me to do something else. It's that easy. Ernie Forks used to say, you can choose again. Remember that one? Choose again. I'll never, they just say all the talk, you just say, you can choose again. Don't let the past choice determine what your life is about. You can decide in midstream, and this is the beautiful thing about consciousness. As soon as you get the vision that you're going the wrong way, nothing's going to stop you from going a different direction, except your determination that, you know what, I've made up my mind, I'm going this way. And by God, I'm going to go this way to the very end. My parents were on a trip. And my mom's like, William, I think we're going the wrong way. I don't even say anything to that. You're not even going to speak to that. You're talking to me about my driving. Now, it's not so much like that now, but it still is a little bit. But back then, it was deeply entrenched. And so he didn't even respond to that. It's a 4-lane highway, and he's going the right way, and nobody can tell him he's just. After a while, there's got to be a 2-lane highway. But by now, she's figured out, oh, you're just determined to go this way. Okay. It became 1 lane. It became a dirt road, and eventually, the road went out into a field and disappeared. Don't let a decision that doesn't work for you dictate what happens for the rest of your life. If it doesn't work, let it go. And there's no such thing as letting it go. People throw that term around, let it go. And the reason why people don't let it go is because it's impossible to let it go. If you're thinking of it, you already got it. If you spot it, you already got it. You can't let something go that you're aware of. If you're aware of it, you still have it. You can't let it go. It's like, You have to affirm what we call in the religious science. You affirm the opposite, whatever the condition that you do not want to exist. If you are experiencing financial hardship, you talk about the abundance of the universe in first person, because I am one with the universe, and the universe is abundant, and therefore I am abundance. I draw my good from an inexhaustible source. And every time you start to talk about money, you use that affirmation that I draw my good from an inexhaustible source, and the universe is abundant. There's no shortage in the universe, therefore there can be no shortage in my life. I'm allowing the universe to manifest perfect abundance in my life right here and right now. And anything that I'm doing that contradicts this idea, anything that I do that contradicts this idea, I am ready to release. Well, we already know you can't release it. But what that means is every time it shows up, I'm going to affirm the opposite. I'm not going to spend any time dawdling in something that doesn't work. If I wanted watermelons and it's a pumpkin patch, okay, I can dig this up and put some seeds in that do watermelons. Or go to another part, wherever you are, it's already there. You with me so far on this?
Yes.
I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who. It's another good one. It's set to music, so it's like, oh, that's right. I'm remembering who I am. Well, who am I? I am one with the life, the mind, the power, and the presence of the indwelling and self-existent God that lives and breathes and has his being in and through and as all creation. People, when you talk about yourself in first person like this, it changes the vibration that you have about yourself, and you begin to act differently. You walk taller, you stand taller, you speak with more authority. You are more decisive because you recognize that you are using the same law that created the universe and scattered the stars across the skies and littered the sand, the beaches with sand, and caused all living thing to exist, all manner of living thing to be. You are operating from that same creative principle. You are using that same creative idea. And because I know it works for God, it also must work for me. Why? Because I'm one with God. And so there's a seamless integration of being, and we begin to realize there's no separation from me and everything else. As a matter of fact, there is no everything else. There is no everything else. As a matter of fact, eliminate the word they from your vocabulary, because there's no they. There's no them. It's just me. There's only one of us here. We're all a manifestation of the oneness of the divine being. We are not individual. We are individualized expressions. And there's a difference there. It's like being a single note on a page and then being a note that's part of a symphony. All right, there's a purpose for this particular one. There's a reason why it's there. It has a destiny to fulfill. And it's not just standing there wondering what happens now. If you want to know what happens now, you happen now. You happen now. I can't talk about that without thinking about that line in the movie White Men Can't Jump. And I think Woody Harrelson, he's lost the money again. He comes home and says, honey, it happened again. She said, it happened? No, it didn't happen. You happened again. Well, until I figure out who I am, I'm just going to keep happening over and over again, because I'm not in control of my circumstances, because I'm not fully aware of who I am. But because we are growing in the awareness of who we are every day, more and more and more, we're growing in that awareness every day. What's that affirmation? Every day in every way, I grow stronger and stronger. Every day in every way, I grow richer and richer. Every day in every way, I grow wiser and wiser. You just come up with these little things you can say to yourself to keep that devil at bay. Because doubt is a toxin. It affects everything. Anytime doubt shows up, it's time to start praying. It's time to start affirming. It's time to start doing something different. And I'm not saying different. Don't run from doubt. You're not going to outrun it. Because everywhere you are, everywhere you go, there you are, right? And so I'm taking the doubt with me. When I was a child, my dad was military. And so we moved around a lot. And we actually moved from Berkeley, California to Stuttgart, Germany, actually a little town outside of Stuttgart called Ludwigsburg. And the packers, they label all the boxes pretty much so you know where they put stuff in. There's one box, we didn't know what it was because there was no label on it. So we cut the box open. It was the kitchen trash. They just put the trash can in a box, labeled box, and sent it. We took the same trash with us. What a beautiful, man. It's like, this is some California trash all the way out here in Germany. And that's the way consciousness is, okay? You just can't outrun it. Doubt is going to be with you, but so is confidence will always be with you. Love is always with you. The wholeness and the oneness is always with you. And when I begin to operate from the premise that nothing exists except the divine indwelling and self-existent God, that I am a living, breathing example, a living, breathing creation, a living, breathing idea, a living, breathing, animated, anticipating, speak my word, manifester. That God is literally walking when I walk, walking as I walk, talking as me. When we begin to think like this, there's no power in hell that can stand against us. There's no power in hell. Come on, devil, I'm ready for you. I'm ready for anybody. I'm ready for anything, because who I am is not separate from who you are and what you are. And so I don't have to fear my own self. I just have to let the truth about me. You know, there's a story about the Buddha sent somebody for water or something like this. They couldn't get the water because it was all murky and cloudy. And he said, just stand there until the water gets still. And then it clarifies itself. And so I learn, the idea is to still myself. And the way I still myself is to stop thinking about stuff. Well, I'm going to keep thinking about stuff because we can't stop thinking about stuff. Actually, we can't stop thinking about stuff. It just takes a while. I did a Vipassana retreat, silent meditation, can't talk, can't even look at people. Don't look at anybody. Took about 3 days, and eventually, I couldn't hear my mind anymore. But it took 3 days for the information I already had in my mind to stop processing over and over and over again. But I remember when it happened, I went, whoa, whoa. Of course, now I'm thinking of something while I'm saying I'm not thinking about nothing, but still. What an experience. But now that I've had this experience, I know that it exists. And now that I know that it exists, I know that I can access it whenever I decide this is who I'm being in this moment. Man, it's such a beautiful thing to know the truth about you. I was in an argument with somebody one time, and I was really upset. And the person was going off on me. I was being so holy and so divine because I was not responding. I was not taking the bait. I was just letting them rant and letting them rave and letting them do it after. You're not affecting me. But the barbs got sharper and sharper, and the aim got clearer and clearer, and it started hurting me more and more. I'm breathing through it. I'm breathing through it. I'm breathing through it. And finally, I had enough. And I start to raise up and just unload. But you see, this is what happens when you practice consciousness enough, okay? You can practice consciousness so much that you can't even respond from the familiar place anymore because the exercises you've been doing on your own mind and your own consciousness step up and interfere with your intention in that moment. I began to rise up, and spirit in me just said, sit down. Sit your you-know-what down. Sit down. I mean, I didn't hear the word sit down. People say, you always talk about God, talk about, I can feel what I'm talking, you know what I'm saying? I just got an overwhelming urge to sit my blankety blank down. And when I went, and I sat down, and that's when the other person, somebody said, that's right, Muwata, bite your tongue, bite your tongue, bite your tongue. Oh, man. This is a good one here, man. You're taking me into the deep water, God. You got me in the deep water right now. But you know what? I weathered that water because I realized in that moment there was an amazing blessing for me. I had a problem with people talking crazy to me. You don't get to talk crazy to me. All since I was little, I learned, don't let people talk crazy to you. It's like, no, you didn't. Because first of all, nobody can talk crazier than me. So why would I let somebody talk crazy to me if I already know I can talk crazier than you? And so I let them go at it for a while, and I can usually just come up with one sentence, one word, just right in there. Just let all the air out of your balloon. I was ready to do it. I had my samurai sword. I was ready to pull it out of this scabbard. Like, sit down. Oh, man, I can win this one. Sit down. Bite your tongue, Muwata. Bite your tongue. That's a new affirmation for me. Okay, I had to get that. Wow, that's deep. Now, it's hard for me to call this man a teacher. it's hard for me to call this man a saint, somebody who came here to show me the way. But that's exactly what he did. And I called him into my experience because I knew I was going to have my cage rattled if I was going to ascend or descend or develop this level of awareness. Sometimes we have to trouble the water. We have to agitate the consciousness in order to grow. You know, in an orchard, the first thing that they do after they get the seed for what they want, they have to till the soil. That means you break the soil open. You carve it up. You take the inside out. And so that the seed can meet not just fertile soil, but soft, welcoming, and nurturing soil. Well, that's the same thing about us. We want to be soft with ourselves, to be gentle with ourselves, and welcome the change that presents itself for us. And it's like, it took me a minute, but I knew in the moment. I knew, see, because I'd already been practicing. At some point, we lose our choice because we've already chosen who we are. And so there's what I call choiceless choice. I don't really have a choice anymore because I've already chosen and I'm committed to the choice that I've made. And whenever I find myself straying from that choice, I correct my course and go back to that choice. And so this is how we do anything. If you don't spend any time thinking about anything that you do not want to happen. Because if you spend time thinking about it, you're putting the divine creative power that set the stars in motion and got galaxies scattered across eons of time and all that. You're taking all of that energy and making something you don't even want. At least that's what happens when I do it. And I can always tell because I look around and now all of a sudden I'm having a problem with somebody. I'm not having a problem with somebody. I'm having a problem remembering who I am, as the song says. And so when we know that we're one with God, when we know that God is all there is, when we recognize that there's an indwelling, ever-present, effervescent self-givingness that's always giving of itself, I know that my mantra, my motion, my motor, all these things are coming up, is to be a giving person. Wow. I don't know about you, but that's deep for me. That's really deep. I actually, in meditation one day, this was a voice too, said, you've always been, but it was a hearing in my mind, you've always been a particularly ungrateful child. And I'm like, wow, really? Yeah. Well, that let me know right there. Obviously, I came here to learn gratitude and generosity and all these wonderful things. If I've always been a particular ungrateful child, that's my big X on my treasure map. I can just dig right here. My problems are over. I already know what the problem is. A stunning, incredible lack of gratitude. People, we take so much for granted. And we take it for granted to the point that when it doesn't happen the way we expect it to, because, we've got the universe ordered in our minds the way it's supposed to be. I mean, I don't subscribe to this theory anymore, but I still know what's good for everybody. I already know what everybody else needs to do to fix their life. And if they listen to me, I can have the whole world 30 seconds. 30 seconds is all. Okay, maybe a minute. But that's on a bad day. But something inside of me is bigger than that. Something inside of each of us is grander than that. And that thing is so powerful now that it will not allow me to exercise that idea anymore. And so anything that's here to subvert that idea is immediately cast aside. Dr. Holmes has a quote about that. He says, faith is an idea so convinced of itself, that so completely believes it, that any contradiction is impossible and something else. But I like the impossible part. Any contradiction is impossible. Brother Ishmael says it cannot be otherwise. You recognize that nothing can happen in your life without your permission. Now, this gets people upset right here because we all been through stuff that we didn't give anybody permission to do. But remember, we're here as a part of the divine expression that's expressing itself in and through and as all creation. And our number one I'm getting my military stuff. It's like when you change your duty station, they give you orders to go to the next place. And once you have the orders to go to the next place, That's where you now belong. You're checking out of everything here. We've all got our orders to be a loving presence on the planet. If God is love and we're one with God, that means we're one with love. And if we're one with love, then what I need to do, what I want to do, the most powerful thing I can do is to continue to be a loving presence. And so when I heard the charge, the call to bite my tongue, I knew I was in a grand loving experiment right there. Can I still remain a loving person? Is the love that I am going to be upset by this conversation? Can I still, what's that, Mama, do you still love me? What's that, Billie Holiday says, why not take all of me? God's like, you know what, where does your faith begin and end? I don't have faith anymore. I don't want faith anymore. I don't need faith anymore. Because faith is for people who do not know. There's nothing wrong with not knowing. Having faith is better than not having anything. But when you know, it's not a belief anymore. See, when you know something, you will stake your life on it because you know it's true. If you know it's true, I don't have to worry about if it's true. I know this. And so whatever is going down, whatever the circumstances, whatever the situation is, I'm going to stand on this principle, on this awareness. What that Bible verse says, as for me and my house, I'm going to serve the Lord. I already know. I already made a choice. I'm going to be one with God. I am one with God. I can't help but be one with God. I'm going to let the love that I am flow copiously and mightily throughout my life and quench the thirst of the furthest parsecs of consciousness. I'm going to be the source because I'm going to be it. I already am it. I am the presence of the divine, indwelling and self-existent God, spewing itself out into the cosmos with unconditional love and prosperity and bounty and all that exists. I am a bad dude. I am all powerful. Man, I love this. This is different than just being that scared guy, that angry guy that was always trying to defend himself. I don't have to defend myself from myself. I already know. The trick is to keep knowing. The trick is to keep knowing because sometimes we find a reason to stop knowing. But the truth is always present because I'm always present. And so everything is either a request for love or an expression of love. That's what the Course in Miracles says. Everything is either a request for love or an activity of love. Basically, everything is love. Man, you know, the love of my life, I'm going to get in trouble for this. I haven't done this for a very, very long time for a very, very good reason. Sometimes I have the misperception that she might be disagreeing with me in a way that I find uncomfortable. It's just happening in my own mind because, first of all, she's not even here. There's only one of us here. Okay? And it's the presence of God is not even Moata. It's God showing up as Moata. And so when I know that, and I'm experiencing an uncomfortable conversation, oftentimes people relate to you from their fear. Oftentimes people relate to you from their anger. Sometimes people relate from their lack, from their limitation, whatever the story that the flavor of the month is at that particular time. And my opportunity is to love them past that experience. Is my love deep enough? Is my love strong enough to float this boat? Can I continue to be a loving and giving and kind and compassionate person in this circumstance? Is God still God? Or has God abandoned me? Now I'm sure that she would tell you that never happens. It's always me. Because sometimes it's me. Sometimes I'm using that divine power in a way that's not working for me. But I have people in my life. I have this whole center right here. I have so many people who know the truth about me that when I am not in congruence with the truth about who I am, I will invariably meet someone, see something. It might be a dog, a puppy, a blade of grass. Something is going to remind me about the truth that I am because I've already made up my mind that this is who I am. And so I will continue to gather evidence to prove that it's so. And everything that's happening in your life right now is the evidence that you are gathering about the unconditional love of God that's flowing through you, in you, and as you. And you have a grand opportunity to go deeper in the love than you ever have before. And people, when you go deep in the love like that, that's the roots seeking deep into the ground. And when the roots grow deep in the ground, the tree becomes stronger. And so now you're rooted in consciousness because you continue to develop an awareness of the oneness of God, and you allow yourself to flow into the earth like a tree. And you bear the fruit of your intention. And that's the beauty. That's the beauty of it. And we all came here for this experience. And here's the beautiful thing about it. We're already doing it. We just want to do it more. I don't want a tree anymore. First I wanted an apple. Then I wanted a tree. Now I want an orchard. The universe doesn't care. You can walk to the waters of abundance with a thimble or a tanker truck. The universe is going to fill it. Whatever it is, it's going to fill it. The trick is to not be mad when you have your thimble and somebody pulls up with a tanker truck and it looks like they're taking all the good away. They're going to take all my good away. Think what this person's just hogging all the good. Namaste. Thank you, babe.
So joining on the platform is practitioner Betty Burr. Holding vigil in the back is practitioner Webster Moore. And preparing our fellowship feast in the kitchen is practitioner Matthew Green. We are licensed practitioners of our center, but the truth is that everyone present is a practitioner in our own lives and in life. This is the orchard. And so gathering in within myself as the singular being, I speak my word in the first person, knowing that I speak as one, that everyone present, all beings everywhere, are a part of a divine whole, that the truth is that God has loved itself into existence as all living beings. And I witness the breath, the singular breath, knowing that there is always that which is breathing me. And I follow that breath into the seat of my soul. And here I find Spirit, God Almighty, that which has raised every mountain, that which has rooted every tree, that which causes all waters to flow. This being, this presence, this me is infinite and vast. It encompasses every desire. It encompasses every fear, every doubt, every knowing, all love, all existence. And so I speak my word in truth, knowing that every prayer placed within this box, before it was placed, before it was written, it was done. That everyone present here in mind has that place within that is a desire, is a knowing. And I know that all is well. That I draw from a wellspring of infinite good and abundance, that health and vitality are my being, that relationship is in harmony and peace, and all is unfolding exactly as it is meant to be. Right and perfect place, right and perfect time, right and perfect expression of life. And in this knowing, I am grateful. Oh, so grateful. I surrender into this gratitude, giving thanks, knowing thanks, affirming thanks at all times. And in this surrender, I release, I let go of this word, knowing that it finds its home as truth and is made manifest exactly as spoken. Together in one voice, one affirmation, one deep knowing, I say, and so it is.